Hello everyone. I wanted to do a video because I did see a group of people complaining about how difficult it was to do things in Linux if you're a Windows user. Some people do joke about it, so I'm not really doing this after the people are doing jokes about it. But there are groups of people that legitimately think that Linux is very hard to understand and start using for new users and stuff like that. So first thing is first, I am a Cache OS user currently. I did want to show what they have set up. So this is the Cache OS welcome. So when you first install Cache OS, this comes up and it allows you to do different things. And the main thing here is the install apps portion of it. It has a lot of common applications. You just simply check the boxes of the stuff that you want, and then you click install down here. It's grayed out because I currently don't have anything selected, but that's how you install software to get started. You can search the repo right through here. It's very similar to Synaptic Package Manager for the old Debian Ubuntu stuff. So get that out of the way. So I decided to set up a challenge for myself. Install Linux. First and foremost, as the first thing that's got to happen, I have to boot to the hard drive of Linux after I get it installed. I have to install an alternative web browser and do a bit of word processing. And we will start a timer starting now. I'm almost at the 2 minute mark. That's 1 minute 50 seconds, so we'll start now. So I'll open, boot the machine. And while this is booting, I just wanted to point out I'm skipping the USB media creation, so two of them I'd like to point out because it makes it very easy is Bellina, Etcher, and Rufus. There's drawbacks to either one. You can use either of them or play around with whichever one you want to use. It can't go wrong either way. So now that Linux Mint is booted in my virtual machine, this is what gets started too. So I'm going to mostly try to think in a dumb user perspective and not a computer technician perspective. So we know that it's booted off this media, so I'm going to double click on install Linux Mint because I want things to be persistent. Okay, the installer came up English. That is correct. If I'm of a different language, I would probably go with a different locale. English US, English US, that does seem to be correct based on what I'm seeing on my hardware keyboard. Install multimedia codecs, why not? Erase disk and install Linux Mint. This will give you more choices if you're installing it on a computer that already had an operating system. But because the virtual hard drive that I have on this machine is blank, it's just giving me this option. Okay, that tells you what it's doing. Okay, cool. As a dumb user, I don't know what any of that means. I am in New York State, so that seems correct. I mean, I would recommend computer technician ones would recommend a stronger password than that. It does warn you that it says it is a short password. Probably a good idea to encrypt your home folder. But because this is a virtual machine, I don't really want to mess with anything if it does mess with anything on that front. Continue. Do restart now. Just going to press enter. As on that press enter screen, that'd be when you'd unplug your flash drive that you're installing Linux Mint from. Okay, let's go. Desktop colors. We'll do a bit of customization here to show what a user would do. Snapshots, don't know what those are. Driver manager. Computer technician lens. Probably a good idea, especially if you're on newer hardware, to install drivers through the driver manager. Update manager. Probably a good idea to install from the latest updates before we start messing around with installing software. So with Linux installed and working, task 1 is done. So we're done there. Now we're moving on to task 2, which is getting set up and installing an alternative web browser. I was just seeing what I had to do to get that to appear, because I imagine that's what that orange exclamation point in the shield was for. Because it did change a lot of the probably do the firewall first. Especially if it if it is going to be on a laptop that of course firewall does. Okay, there we go. Especially if it's going to be on a laptop that you're going to take different places, I would recommend putting a firewall on it, because when you connect it to other people's networks, you don't know who's going to be on it and if they're going to be looking for vulnerabilities on your computer. It's best to run a firewall, especially if you don't know for sure where your computer is going to go when you first set it up. So honestly, between here and here, if I were the Linux Mint devs, I would switch those two, because a firewall would probably should happen before you start installing custom software on it. That's just my opinion, though. And this is something that's not unique to Linux. It does happen to Windows users too. Sometimes when you first launch an application, it has to build some cache there. I've seen that happen in the Microsoft Store. It doesn't show the spinny thing, and it doesn't tell you that what it's doing, but you get a blank white screen for a little while, and you're like, is it working? Then all of a sudden, everything starts working on it. But at least here it gives you the feedback that it's spinning and loading. Okay. As a custom or third-party web browser working, installed and working. So we'll pin that to panel. We'll move it. We'll unpin Firefox. Not that I hate Firefox, but just wanted to show people that it isn't difficult to install and switch to a different web browser. So we have Chromium installed and working. Now, task number 3. Opening a word processor. and doing some word processing. So since I'm a dumb Windows user, I'm just going to type word and passwords and keys. Doesn't seem to be what I'm looking for. Neither does account details. LibreOffice Writer, maybe. So we'll just open that. So word processing is working out of the box on Linux. And if for some reason you want a different suite of software, I can bring up the software manager right from the start menu on Linux. Uh, so so this is installing from FlatHub, which may take a bit. But it does have a style more similar to Microsoft Office. I just haven't used it long term, so I can't comment about um, its features or anything like that. So this is only Office working, so I just installed two pieces of software without touching the terminal. And as you can see, it looks very similar to Microsoft Office. So the regular word processing shortcut keys works just fine on here too, so you don't have to do any tinkering to get your regular shortcut keys for word processing to work here. So other things you can do with Linux that you can't really do with Windows anymore is customizing the layout. So let's say I want to move this panel up here. I can move it up here. I can go into panel edit mode. So if I want stuff center like it is on Windows, I can mess around. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get it to do this, but with a little bit of playing around, you can get that to stick, like I just did. Um, I can get that divider over there, and I can get that over there. I can go into applets. Let's say I want to put uh, let's put a workspace switcher over there. So now I can turn off panel edit mode. I have different workspaces and all that too, so I can really mess around with the layout here. Accidentally put that in the wrong order. So you can really play around. You can get the layout you want. And Windows doesn't really let you do this anymore. Uh, you also do have system settings. You can, for instance, if you want this to be a 24, yeah, my face is blocking it here. Let's move that for now. But like up here, if you want a 24-hour clock, you just gotta go into system settings, and I think it's like date time, and then you just turn off use 24-hour clock, and that's all there is to that. So there's ways to graphically change different things in Linux. You don't have to do command line and stuff like that. That's a myth now. There are a lot of graphical stuff, so I just wanted to point that out in this video. So with that, I guess I'll see you in the next one.